While college and university sexual assault cases are hot topics in the media, sexual assault cases in K-12 schools often fail to generate as much attention, despite being a persistent problem, whether it be employee on employee, employee on student, or student on student. A year-long investigation by the Associated Press uncovered 17,000 official reports of sexual assaults by students in K-12 schools over a 4-year period. It is the most complete tally of reported sexual assault cases among our nation's 50 million K-12 students. But because many states don't track them, and those that do can vary greatly in what is classified as sexual assault, the estimate can be blurry. Add on to that the cases that don't get reported, and that number becomes even more vague. What perhaps is most concerning is how different the laws are for reporting sexual assault cases in federally funded colleges and universities versus K-12 schools. Federally funded colleges and universities are required to track sexual assault and report statistics under the Clery Act, but most elementary and secondary schools are not required to track such data. Oftentimes there's a pressure to even hide it because acknowledging such incidents can bring about a nightmare of liabilities. But we can no longer pretend that this is not a problem, because the truth of the matter is that this ultimately creates an unsafe learning environment for our students. Sexual assault cases ranging from rape and forced oral sex to sodomy and unwanted fondling could be difficult for schools because they often go unreported. When they are reported, it often happens in areas where the students might be out of visual supervision, such as the school bathrooms or in the back of the school bus. And without a witness, it becomes an accuser versus the accused situation. Among female rape victims, 30% say they were first raped between the ages of 11 and 17, according to data from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. According to the U.S. Department of Justice statistics, nearly 20% of girls 14 to 17 were sexually victimized. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that nearly 30% of female rape victims were raped between the ages of 11 and 17. This year, the CDC found that more than 20% of female and 10% of male students had experienced some form of dating violence in the past year. While this doesn't exclude sexual assaults outside of the school and the ones that were perpetrated by adults, the Associated Press's study found that regarding the school sexual assault cases, student-on-student assaults were far more prevalent than adult-on-student cases. Despite these alarming statistics on sexual assault and dating violence experienced by middle and high school students, most K-12 schools miss the mark when it comes to addressing campus sexual assault. According to Break the Cycle, an organization that addresses teen dating violence, more than 80% of high school guidance counselors say they feel ill-equipped to deal with reports of abuse on their campuses. This lack of preparedness by school officials often exacerbates the harm to sexual assault survivors. In addition, the survivors sometimes face victim blaming and harassment by their peers after they report being sexually assaulted, which some survivors say is worse than the sexual assault itself. Why do so many of our K-12 schools fail to take appropriate action in response to allegations of campus sexual assault? Besides the lack of training, a key piece of the problem is that schools simply don't understand their obligations to address campus sexual violence under Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. The federal civil rights law prohibits sex discrimination in education programs that receive federal funding. In response, Title IX litigation and enforcement is on the rise, forcing K-12 schools to do a better job of addressing campus sexual assault. Lawyers are filing civil lawsuits against school districts daily to obtain justice and compensation for survivors. Lawsuits and/or complaints filed with the United States Department of Education's office or the Office of Civil Rights can lead to systemic changes in K-12, and it changes the way that K-12 schools prevent and respond to campus sexual violence. Every school district in the country is required by the Department of Education to have a Title IX coordinator and to designate that individual to the community as the contact point for Title IX communications and grievances. The Title IX coordinator is responsible for the school district's coordination of compliance efforts on gender discrimination, sexual harassment, retaliation, sexual assault, athletic equity, and related civil rights investigations. These are some quotes from the Office of Civil Rights. In our enforcement work, the Office of Civil Rights has found that some of the most egregious and harmful Title IX violations occur when a recipient fails to designate a Title IX coordinator, or when the Title IX coordinator has not been sufficiently trained or given the appropriate level of authority to oversee the recipient's compliance with Title IX. The Office of Civil Rights also states that recipients must ensure that their Title IX coordinators are appropriately trained and possess comprehensive knowledge in all areas of which they have responsibility in order to effectively carry out these responsibilities, including the recipient's policies and procedures on sex discrimination and all complaints raising Title IX issues throughout the institution. The Office of Civil Rights also says, in addition, the Title IX coordinator should be knowledgeable about the applicable federal and state laws and regulations and policies that overlap with Title IX. In most cases, the recipient will need to provide the employee with training to act as its Title IX coordinator. Because these laws and regulations and the OCR guidance may be updated, the recipient's policies and procedures may be revised, and the best way to ensure that Title IX coordinators have the most current knowledge of federal and state laws and regulations and policies related to Title IX and gender equity is for a recipient to provide regular training to the Title IX coordinator, as well as to all employees whose responsibilities may relate to the recipient's obligations under Title IX. K-12 administrators all over the country continue to share their lack of clarity on the role, responsibilities, and the expectations the Department of Education has for their Title IX coordinator. There's confusion over whether there's more to the role of a Title IX coordinator than simply being a designee to the Office of Civil Rights Communications and who their administrator is and what that person is supposed to do. With the continual changes in legislation and resolution letters and open investigations continuing to affect our work as Title IX administrators, the Title IX coordinator position continues to develop and grow over time. This course will address the questions and confusion about the responsibilities of a Title IX coordinator in the K-12 system. This comprehensive course is focused on broadly discussing and developing the role of the Title IX administrator, Title IX compliance, investigations, athletics equity, and 504 disability compliance. This training provides a comprehensive curriculum on how to do the job of a Title IX coordinator and investigator and how to do it well. Each day of the training will be practical and full of case studies and opportunities to apply the skills imparted in the training. This training is engaging and dynamic. It will not only keep and hold your interest, but it will entertain you and move you from theory to practice and compliance using case studies and current cases, as well as content-focused activities. This course will place you in the best possible position to respond to and defend district-wide competence and discrimination grievances regarding Title IX. So who should attend this training? Title IX coordinators, both institution-based and school-based Title IX people, district-level coordinators, district-based Title IX personnel, all Title IX investigators, superintendents, principals, assistant principals, human resource personnel, general counsel personnel, athletic directors, and any K-12 personnel that you deem necessary to help the Title IX cases. Find out how you can be the solution by attending or scheduling this training in your area.